We're focused on public service, and this morning's guest is working hard to get lots of folks involved. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on public service, and we're visiting with Greg McCollum, the chairman of the Horry County Democratic Party. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning. It's good to see you.
Thanks so much for coming in again.
It's my pleasure.
Golly, it was, what, 6-8 months ago when we had you in, right before the election?
Yeah, I think it was before the election.
Focused on, and how did things turn out? Did you feel you all had a good, for the candidates that stepped up on the party side?
Well, we were fighting a Republican wave. There was a tremendous turnout of voters. Historically, that's always boded very well for Democrats. This was the exception, but we got a lot of positives out of the election as well, and we have more and more people that are active, and more people are concerned, and so I have to say that I'm very pleased with the progress that we've made in the Democratic Party here, certainly in Horry County.
Yeah, and I think y'all had a membership drive recently, Greg, and seemed to be real excited trying to raise some funds.
Well, one of the things that I thought was important for us as a local party is to have continuity and to be active in the party 12 months a year, and to not gear up for an election and work for 3 or 4 months and then everybody go home. And one of the things that we've done along that line is to have a membership drive, and the deadline for our goals was, I think, March 31st, and it looks like we've raised somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,000 in annual memberships.
That's tremendous. Yeah. So there's normally a cost to become a member of the party here, of the Democratic Party, or these are just folks who they want to join, but then they also want to make a donation?
This is for donations. We had people that were contributing money to the party when we needed it, and I thought, along with the other officers, that it was a better idea to have people give a specific contribution, get credit for it, and do that annually because it's simply more stable.
Sure.
It doesn't cost any money to be a member of the Horry County Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
If you contact the party, we will make you a member. You're entitled to a membership card. But if you would like to contribute, we have donor levels from $10 up to $1,000 a year.
Great. Well, that's a good commitment to try to get folks pigeonholed on something. I mean, to make them think about the needs within the party. You'll have to continue to get the word out. You know, we had your counterpart for the Republican Party in on Tuesday and heard him talk about so many of the aspects within the county. Dwayne Oliver was with us on Tuesday. Of course, we didn't know who to get in earlier in the week, either you or Dwayne. We had this week primarily focused on the March of Dimes, so we wanted to get you all in focused on public service. But he talked about the real needs of getting the word out on behalf of the party, and you have to have funds to do that.
Yes, you need money just to operate, just to be able to contact people and tell people what's going on. It takes some money, yes.
Where are the headquarters for the Horry County Democratic Party, Greg?
Right now, the headquarters are in my law office, which is 516 29th Avenue North in Myrtle Beach.
Okay, great. Right there next to Stage's Video, that good-looking carousel horse out there.
Right next to Stage's Video.
We've seen that horse when folks come by. I think it's lit up at night, so you can probably give directions based off of that horse.
That's right.
That's probably smart. Real quick about yourself, Greg, for viewers who may not have caught you when you were with us last July. Are you originally from the area?
I grew up in South Carolina, but in a small town called Easley, which is in the upper part of the state, near Greenville.
Okay. And you stayed here in the state for school, or you left the area?
I went to college at Clemson. I went to law school at the University of South Carolina in Columbia and earned a law degree. I lived out of the state for a short period of time and have lived here since 1987.
Okay, and how long have you been in the Myrtle Beach area? Since 87?
Since 88.
Wow, tremendous. Yeah. What brought you down here?
At the time, I was practicing law and clerking. I was a judge's law clerk, and he was stationed here or holding court here in Horry County. And, of course, I was very familiar with the county and with Myrtle Beach, the area. And met a lot of people, had job offers, and wanted to stay here and was able to.
Sure. Greg, for viewers who may not be familiar with the clerk's position in a judge's chambers, how does that work? What are the needs that a judge might have for a clerk, let's say in your position, with whatever kind of judge that was?
You do legal research as questions are raised in a trial, and the judge is required to answer those questions and make legal decisions during a trial, which happens continuously. You're there to assist the judge and provide research and to look up cases and draft memos, whatever they need for you to do. You're the judge's lawyer.
Okay. Wow. So oftentimes the judge may not know it right off the tip of his or her head.
Well, they want to make sure, he or she wants to make sure that they get it right. So that requires looking at the case law and so that they can make an informed and intelligent decision.
Right. How did you determine what area of the law you wanted to practice?
I was always interested in doing criminal defense, and that was always my track. That was my plan, is to do criminal defense. And as part of that plan, I worked in the public defender's office here for a short while here in Horry County, and then also worked in the solicitor's office prosecuting felonies. I did that for, I think, 5.5 or 6 years to be prepared to do criminal defense.
Golly, you know, we had Ralph Wilson with us a couple of months ago.
Oh, you did?
Very exciting. Yeah, Jennifer was with us on Monday and Ralph on Friday. His wife, Chief Judge Wilson, there for the Myrtle Beach area. And of course, but it was so exciting hearing him talk about a similar track there, having worked in the public defender's office and then as a solicitor prosecuting many of I guess some similar folks. I mean, that must be a pretty difficult turn there. Is it oftentimes difficult to have been representing folks and then on the other side to prosecuting them?
I don't think it's that difficult. But in terms of Ralph and Jennifer, yeah, I used to work with Jennifer, and I worked for Ralph for a number of years. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very good friends with both of them. I have a lot of respect for both of them as lawyers and as people.
So that, of course, you'd have an idea what Ralph seemed to give the impression of, having known what it was like in the public defender's office, and then he said it was so much easier working in the solicitor's office because now he has a cadre of attorneys and everyone on his side, not necessarily on his side, but the sheriff's or the police office and so many of the folks who would help gather, as opposed to on the public defender's side, it's just he and that client, and they're very limited on oftentimes what all they can do.
Oh, that's true. When you are the prosecuting attorney, then certainly you have access to get the help of all the police departments, the sheriff's department, the attorney general's office is there to help if you need it, and yes, and other solicitors. So when you're defending somebody in a criminal case, sometimes it's you and your client and his mother, and that may be all you have to work with.
Right. Golly, Greg. And what is it about criminal defense work that keeps you motivated, or keeps you focused, and that seems like it would be pretty difficult. I mean, a real difficult side of practice there, to be doing that all the time.
Well, it is difficult, but it's challenging, and I enjoy it because it is challenging, and it's important. It's very important that any trial that's had be fair, and it's important that the state, whether right or wrong, not be able to simply steamroll a person and take advantage of someone and have somebody incarcerated. And so I think it's a crucial part of our system that everyone have a competent lawyer to competently defend them and represent them.
Greg, I think I saw that you're a past Myrtle Beach High School mock trial coach.
Yes, I did that for a couple of years.
That must have been exciting. Share with viewers what that was like.
There's a state mock trial competition. The first competition is done in districts. Conway represents one of the districts of the state. If your mock trial team wins that district championship, then they move on to the Columbia. If they win in Columbia, then they go to the national competition.
Did you all ever go to the nationals?
No, I was assisting with that this past year, and I was saying that my teams never advanced past the district. Since I stopped coaching, they have advanced, I think, twice. I know this year we had Myrtle Beach, Socastee, and Carolina Forest all advanced this year to the state competition.
Is that right?
And I think that the Carolina Forest team one of the teams, either Carolina Forest or Socastee, I think placed very well in the state competition.
Really?
And then years ago, Socastee, which historically has had an excellent mock trial team, won the national title.
Is that right?
That's right.
Golly, a great honor for the
The teams from this area are very good. They're some of the better teams in the state.
If a viewer needs to get off to work now or run off to get folks out to school, what's the best number for someone to call to learn about the party? And do you all have a website?
We encourage people to visit our website. The website is oridemocrats.org.
Okay.
The phone number is 448-9466 or 448-WIN, W-I-N-N.
843-448-9466, W-I-N-N. Of course, you know, it's so important oftentimes just to try to get folks in. You have regular meetings to try to encourage folks to learn more about the party.
I think that we have 5 standing events right now. We have every month.
Every month.
We have a lunch and debate series that meets in Myrtle Beach. We have a breakfast that meets in Myrtle Beach. There's a afternoon coffee in Conway. We have a happy hour in Myrtle Beach. And there's a number of things that people can go to. If they can call the party and we'll send them a list of events that happen every month, or if they log on the website, then those events are listed there as well.
Great. What are some of the other things that a viewer would find if they took the time to visit oridemocrats.org? What are some of the other benefits of visiting the website?
Well, they could see who the officers in the party are, get information about events that are happening in the other parts of the state. For example, we're having a state Democratic convention, which is coming up in April, and of course, anybody that wants to go to that simply needs to contact our local party, and we'll assist them with that.
Great. That's next Saturday, April 23rd. Why would a viewer want to travel to Columbia for the state Democratic Party convention?
Well, they can see what's going on. They can meet people from other parts of the state. They can meet the state party leaders. There'll be political office holders there. There'll be political candidates there. It's just if somebody wants to be involved in the Democratic Party, then that's something that would be well worth their while, something that they would enjoy.
Absolutely. You know, whether it's the Democratic Party or, as Dwayne talked about, the Republican Party, getting folks involved in the party. He shared with us something I wasn't familiar with, that, you know, so many folks tend to think of Horry County as a pretty heavy Republican Party, but it tends to be almost equal. There's a very large independent vote here. I think he said about 30% of folks consider themselves independents, which means it's a big swing county.
Right. There are both parties try to reach out to people, but certainly each party doesn't represent the majority of people. What we represent are the people who are the most involved and the most active, and then there's everybody else. And a lot of the middle there is the voters, and then they vote for the candidate that they want to choose, and so they are labeled one or the other because of the way they voted. But in reality, I think what you're saying is true, and I would agree with Dwayne on that.
You know, we think about some of the aspects about actually stepping out. We talk about a real focus here is public service. A lot has to happen before a candidate actually becomes a candidate, before they think of themselves as a candidate. What are some of the first steps that someone who's contemplating running for office would want to do after they've contacted you at the party headquarters? What are some of the things that you help them go through, some of those early decisions?
Well, we want them to, one, know what they're getting involved in. We want them to have a good idea of what a particular race is going to cost them in terms of time and money and volunteers. And we also want people to look at the possible positions where they think they can contribute. The first thing that a candidate should be thinking about is why he or she wants to run for office, and it should be coming from a place of thinking that they feel strongly about certain issues and that they think it's important and they could contribute and do a good job and do a better job than the person that they're running against.
Of course, so oftentimes folks think about a position, there's already someone holding that seat, so there's the need to actually overtake an incumbent in office, which is oftentimes a very difficult position to be in.
Well, it depends on the individual race. It depends on the incumbent, and it depends on the position. Some people in elected office are doing an outstanding job, and some people are not doing such an outstanding job. And it simply depends on, you'd have to look at the particular position and make that call.
How do y'all decide that as a party? I mean, do y'all do that? Do they come and meet with a number of the party officials, a number of the board members or the executive committee there? Because oftentimes someone may think, oh, such and such is doing a great job, but of course the person who wants to think of themselves a candidate doesn't think they are. And so it may be difficult for that candidate to hear, oh, they're doing a great job, you don't need to rock the boat, or this is going to be a very difficult election for the party to win.
Well, certainly we would encourage somebody who wants to run to contact the party, contact one of the party officers, or call me, and then we can discuss it, and we can sit down together and talk about what needs to be done. If a person, on the other hand, wants to run and file, they can file. It's not a situation where the party officers can control that, certainly. If somebody wants to run for office, they can file and run.
Right. Under any party.
Yes.
Under any party banner. Yeah. You know, it's fascinating, as Dwayne was talking about, Mr. Oliver on Tuesday was talking about, in this county, 24 folks ran in Horry County, where they had a pretty high success rate there, which was a very exciting thing. And of course, the real desire is to continue to build up the party politics. I mean, to really continue to build up the party. But oftentimes, message is such a difficult thing to get across, to really get across the message of a party. How do y'all go about making sure that folks understand some of the real platforms of the Democratic Party?
One of the things that's difficult is that it's not really practical for the local party, whether it be Republican or Democrat, to get out a message if there's a national advertising base from a national party that's putting out a message. And I've told people that we cannot in Horry County necessarily compete with the Democratic National Committee, because they have the millions of dollars that they are spending on advertising and getting out the message. We invite people to contact us and not necessarily label us, that we may not be an exact mirror of the national party or even the state party.
So oftentimes it is very difficult to know exactly how a county party will take a stand, or if they'll have a position on issues that the national party may be in different views on.
There are a lot of hot button issues that get purposefully interjected into campaigns in order to push people one way or the other. And if you think about it for a little while, those issues aren't necessarily relevant to somebody running for county council and being responsible for your tax dollars at a county level, or even going to the State House in Columbia, or doing the criminal prosecutions, or being your sheriff or clerk of court or probate judge. And that's where the Republicans have done a good job, because they've driven a lot of these wedge issues nationally, so it's caused people to identify more as Republicans, when if they looked at the parties locally and talked to both, I think that they would see that the Democratic Party in Horry County is fiscally responsible, responsive, and there's a lot to offer people.
Very definitely. And speaking of that, these are all volunteer positions, aren't they, Greg?
Yes.
Are there more volunteer opportunities within the party? If someone was interested in getting active, with so many of the new membership drive that occurred there, do folks want to get active and work hard on behalf of candidates, or get out there and work hard to get the word out?
The party provides a mechanism for somebody who wants to get involved. If you believe you have some talent or have time to offer, and there's something that you want to do, yes, we'll try to help you and guide you and show you what you can do to help your community and help us make your community a better place.
Golly, Greg, with all this being volunteer time, how do you have time to keep your practice going?
Well, fortunately, I have a lot of help. We have a lot of good officers in the party. There are a lot of good party members, and I could not do it alone, but there are several dedicated people who do a terrific job in helping this party grow and move forward.
Were the voter turnouts pretty strong in this most recent election, Greg?
Yes, the voter turnout was high. It was a record turnout. More people voted than had ever voted before, which is good. It's very encouraging. People cared about the races. They cared about the issues. And people, if you went to vote, then what you saw were lines sometimes wrapping around a building, which you hadn't really seen before.
No, you sure hadn't. I think I saw the fourth Tuesday of every month y'all are doing a kind of an Empower debate series. How's that going, and what exactly is that about for viewers who may be interested?
We try to pick an issue that's timely and relevant to what's going on in people's lives or what's going on at that time. We had, for example, we debated impact fees. We try to find the best speakers that we can. We had a debate on tort reform when it was pending at the State House, and we try to pick an issue and get the best people for each side of the issue to come and debate it over lunch.
So you get the best folks of each side, both within the same party or potentially in different parties?
Typically, the one side is a Republican stance and the other side is a Democratic stance, to the extent that they're party issues, but they usually are.
Great. And who were the folks? Do you remember who the folks you had in for the tort reform and the impact fees? That must have been very exciting. Sorry to put you on the spot. It's I can't remember. It seems like I saw Harold Worley was recently speaking on one event. And
yes, Mr. Worley spoke on impact fees.
Right.
And I remember on the malpractice or the tort reform, we had Farrell Furr, who was a noted medical malpractice lawyer. And then the name escapes me, but we had somebody, I think, from the insurance industry. No, it was the medical. I can't.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot on that, but it's fascinating when you think about so many of these that's a great idea to come up with those. How long have you served as the party chairman, Greg?
I've been the chairman, I think, for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. And how long has the party been in existence prior to you taking on the tenure as chairman?
Well, the party has been in existence for a long time, and there were strong periods and weaker periods, but there's been a Democratic Party here
in the county for a heck of a long time.
Yes,
that's right.
From the beginning, really.
We think back to the Calvin's Ferry stump. I guess there must have been a lot going on way back when they kicked that off. There must have been a pretty active party at that time. When you think about so many influences for you, whether you're in Conway, in court on your own, or as you're interfacing with lots of folks within the county, there are certain activities that you make sure that you stay abreast of in this position as chairman of the Democratic Party.
Right.
You think about activities within the county, so many things going on a daily basis that you try to keep up with. What are some of the critical issues facing the county party right now?
For the Democrats, the most critical issue is simply membership and growth and organization. We want to have all of the precincts organized. We want to have all of our precincts meeting, because we believe that governments should start in the neighborhood, and we believe that neighborhoods should meet on a regular basis to give input, and then that goes through the party structure so that we can present things that need to be addressed. And you should be able to go to your neighbor's house a couple of times a year and meet with your neighbors and pass that information along so that you can get that to your elected representative, so that there'll be a true representation of what needs to be done. Sometimes people become so frustrated and they feel so disconnected. And if the political party functions as it should, then people are not disconnected. In fact, it's just the opposite. They are connected, and they would have an opportunity and a forum to be heard and have their issues debated and have, to some extent, their problems solved or solutions reached.
How many of the precincts are not thoroughly organized right now, Greg? And how many precincts are there?
There are 107 voting precincts in Horry County. We have, I think, 85 to 90 are organized.
Okay.
It's something in that neighborhood, and we just organized one in Conway and are in the process of organizing another one.
Great. So a viewer would probably know if their precinct was or was not organized, and that would be a good opportunity to give you a call. Are you trying to find folks within those 107 precincts? Are you trying to find folks within the precincts that are not organized to help get it going?
Certainly.
Okay.
We want people to be heard, and we want every precinct to be represented. And when we meet in Conway for our local county party meetings, we want every precinct and every neighborhood to be represented.
Mm-hmm. Golly, Greg, you know, as you think back over your practice, and you've been a solar practitioner for a good while now.
Yeah, since '93.
Since '93, over the last decade, if you weren't a solar practitioner, what do you think you'd be doing? I may have asked you this question before. Forgive me if I'm asking you that again.
I could imagine doing a lot of different things, but I haven't really thought about it. I'm very happy being a solar practitioner. I'm very happy doing what I do. I feel perfectly free to go and do something else if I wanted to do something. But I've been practicing law for going on 20 years now, and it's very satisfying, and I enjoy it very much.
That's great. Those are good words. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
It's my pleasure. It's good to see you again.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Greg McCollum coming up next. It's a simple phone number, 843-448-WIN. That's WINN, 843-448-9466. Take the time to visit OrieDemocrats.org. You know, it's not the chairman's job to promote a certain personal agenda or a certain personal philosophy. It's the idea of bringing all factions together to pursue the common good. And in this instance, it's building the Horry County Democratic Party. No matter what party you're in, it's important to take the time to learn more about your party so you can find out about the activities going on. You heard him talking about getting precincts stronger, helping them grow and get organized. It's important. You saw the amazing turnout even without all 107 precincts being organized. Think what could happen in a community if all of them were. Take the time to learn more about your party. And in this instance, give the Horry County Democratic Party a call at 843-448-WIN.